Dear parents and teachers, I'm Dan Buck. I started Little News Ears, and I'm here to tell you that this upcoming episode of Just Vote Moms has some sensitive material in it. It's talking about politics. It's still for kids, but it's talking about politics. So you might want to listen along with your child or student, or just check in with them afterwards. Thanks.
Just Vote Moms.
Oh, I just got a point there, Jarvis. In fact, I think I got 2 points, right? Because of the pair.
Oh, yes. Hi, everybody. My name's Jarvis,
And I'm Jasper, and we're here in Pinnacle Rock, West Virginia, and we're just basically playing a game of cribbage.
Oh, I love cribbage. It's very fun.
You know, one of the reasons why we're playing cribbage is there hasn't been so much news recently, in a way.
Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, so our show, if you don't know, it's called Just Vote Moms, and we're all about just teaching kids, what's going on in the world of politics.
Yes, and maybe we should talk about what the word politics means, Jasper, do you think?
Yeah, so politics means like power, like using trickery sometimes, and persuasion.
Oh boy, we should explain what persuasion means too.
Yes, persuasion means saying the right thing or showing the right things to get people to do what you want them to do, and that's what politics is all about there, Jarvis. Today's date is October 12th, 2020, and the election is just about a month away.
Yes, and so this is our second episode of 5 episodes before the election for President of the United States, and it's very exciting. And in a way, there hasn't been that much news.
What are you talking about, Jarvis? The biggest news ever. Donald Trump was released out of the hospital, right? He came back last Monday.
Yes, that's true, and that's really what I want to talk about.
Oh, what do you mean? It's wonderful.
Well, President Trump, he has COVID-19 still, so he can get people sick.
Oh, he's told us all he's one of the strongest men there are.
Yes. So normally, boys and girls, we talk about interpretation, but in this case, there's not a lot of news to interpret, except for what we said. President Donald Trump is out of the hospital, and some people, such as Nancy Pelosi.
Can you explain to our youngest viewers who Nancy Pelosi is?
Yeah, so Nancy Pelosi, she is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. She has the highest position in the House of Representatives, and she has actually brought out legislation.
You mean like a law, right? Or a bill?
Yes, so she is trying to perhaps bring the 25th Amendment into play.
Oh, the 25th Amendment. We definitely have to break this down, Jarvis. That's a little fancy.
Well, you might know that in the United States we have a Constitution.
That's right. It's actually the oldest legal document like that in the whole world, where it's like one piece of paper, right, that we all follow.
Yes, and so in the Constitution, it didn't have everything. So in the very beginning, for example, in the Constitution, if you were a woman, or if you didn't own a house, or if you were an African American person, you couldn't vote. And so those types of things, they've changed.
Thank goodness. That's really good that they have changed.
Yes, and so a long time ago, an amendment was made. It was called the 25th Amendment. It's basically like an add-on.
Yes, it's like you have a grocery list of all the things you're going to buy, and then you add a couple things, like, oh, I forgot to get chili dogs.
Something like that, yes. Until the 25th Amendment, things were a little strange whenever a president got sick, or maybe he died. So, for example, in 1841, right, a long time ago, President William Harrison, he died in office, and then the vice president, who was John Tyler, he basically said, I'm now the president, but there was no law saying that, so it was a little bit weird, because the cabinet, the people around President William Harrison, they basically said, oh, you're the vice president, acting president, but he said, no, I'm actually the president now.
Yes, and so it makes sense. Now we have a law that explains things. So what's the problem?
Well, the problem is, again, this is about interpretation, is Donald Trump, is he really sick? Is he mentally sick?
Oh, no, of course not. He's definitely not mentally sick. Why would you say that?
Well, he's been doing some things that some people think are a little strange.
For example?
Well, for example, it was just found out that Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan was going to be kidnapped
Oh, kidnapped! I see that in the movies. It's not real, right?
No, Jasper. This is actually real. There was a plot with a few men, I think 5 or 6 men or so, and they were going to kidnap her.
Oh, that's so terrible. But they were arrested?
Yes, they were arrested. But Donald Trump's campaign, the people that are trying to get him to win again, they basically said that the reason why she was going to be kidnapped was she had hatred in her heart.
Hatred in her heart? Oh, I thought Donald Trump is all for law and order, right?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, and I mean no disrespect, but people are wondering if maybe the president, if he's, because he's taken steroids.
Oh, a steroid, that's like a medicine, right? Because Donald Trump took medicine because he was very sick. He took remdesivir and things like that.
Yes, but some people, they think he's done other things that are strange too. Like, for example, he stopped talking about giving help to people who've lost their jobs and things because of COVID-19.
Oh, yes, I heard about that too, but it makes sense. He's waiting until, he gets elected again, right?
Well, I guess so. I think some of the other reasons why Nancy Pelosi is saying that, maybe something is wrong with the way he's thinking right now. He's talking. He made a speech on Saturday in front of people.
But that's because he's so strong. Don't you see, Jarvis? He wants to show us how strong he is, and that's nothing to make fun of or to think that he's mentally incapacitated or whatever you're saying.
Maybe, but COVID-19 is real, right, Jasper?
Yes.
And when he says that, he's strong and he's beating COVID-19, well, maybe it makes other people feel bad, right? Many people have died from COVID-19, right?
Yes, I suppose that's true. That's a good point there, Jarvis. Oh, you know what? I do see we have something in our spectro. Let's listen to this one.
Organizers scrap next presidential debate after Trump said he wouldn't agree to virtual format.
Well, I agree with this one 100% there, Jarvis. Why should Donald Trump do a virtual debate with Joe Biden?
Yes, well, one of the reasons, again, is that Donald Trump, he's sick. And so, having two people who are talking to each other in a debate, that doesn't make much sense. I mean, he could be getting people sick, and, he should be lying down.
No, Donald Trump, like I keep saying, he's strong, and they're not allowed to change the rules. They've had the same debate rules for, I don't know, decades and decades, and suddenly they're going to change it because of the way Donald Trump did something, or because he has a little bit of COVID-19.
It's not a little bit.
Vice presidential debate, highlights and fact checks.
Oh yes, the other bit of news that happened last week was the vice presidential debate was on.
Yes, that was quite interesting. Boys and girls out there, there was a big debate last week between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. And so Kamala Harris, she is running with Joe Biden, who is trying to become president now. Kamala Harris is a senator, right? And I thought that for the most part, she spoke very well. It was a more civilized debate.
Yes, it was kind of unfortunate that Mike Pence had a black fly on his head. But the point is that what I liked was last week we talked about decorum, right? The last debate, which was about 2 weeks ago, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, they did not show decorum. Neither of them did. I think that Donald Trump was a little bit worse.
No, it was not worse. They both were rude to each other, but Joe Biden was much ruder, I think.
Well, okay, but in this debate, both people were a lot more civil to each other. For example, Mike Pence noted that it's a very historic occasion that a woman who is black and who has Indian heritage, that she has a chance of becoming vice president and maybe even the president. And so that was great that Mike Pence acknowledged that.
Yes, Mike Pence is great. I know that sometimes he didn't answer every question.
Yes, but to be fair, Kamala Harris didn't answer the questions either.
Yes, for example, I know that Mike Pence, he brought up the point that we believe, I believe this too, that Joe Biden wants to pack the Supreme Court.
Maybe we should explain what that is.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court has 9 justices, and as you know, Ruth Ginsburg just died. Unfortunately, she passed away a few weeks ago, and so Amy Coney Barrett, I hope, is going to become the next Supreme Court justice. Well, we don't know if that's going to happen, right, because of COVID-19. Well, anyway, so there will be 9 justices, and they're going to be more conservative. They want things in America like they used to be. Okay, yes. And so I believe, and many people do too, that Joe Biden, he's going to want to put more people on the Supreme Court.
Yes, I agree. It was interesting that Kamala Harris didn't answer that question.
Yes, and so it wasn't only Mike Pence. You know, some of the questions, when they're not answered, it makes you think.
Yes, so we're out of time, everybody. So once again, I want to thank everybody, for listening to us, and I want to remind you that the news is really important. So pay attention.
Yes, thank you so much. And by the way, I just got knobs.
Oh, yes.
If you don't know, knobs is something you do in cribbage. Goodbye.
Sources for today's show come from the New York Times, CNN, and Fox News.
Thanks for listening to Little News Ears. Remember, there's lots more news on littlenewsears.com.
There are also lots of lesson plans for teachers, too.
Yes, and you can find us on YouTube and major podcasting platforms.
May your sweetness shine.
And your colors glow. Just vote moms.
Hey grown-ups, we are Kids Listen.
The grassroots organization of kids podcasters bringing your little ones and you high-quality audio content every day.
And we just got to ask you a question.
If you live in the United States, what's your voting plan for the upcoming election?
Did you know Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd?
Did you know in many states you can vote early?
Did you know that you can vote by mail?
Did you know in many states you can still register to vote if you haven't already?
Head to vote.org now to check and see your status. Find out where you'll be voting if you plan to vote in person, and if you plan to mail in your ballot, find out the deadline.
Your voice matters. Your vote matters.
That's vote.org. Make your voting plan today.